Aromie here. Welcome back to our life, beginning and always. Yeah, right, beginning and always, right? Yes. I keep wanting to say forever and always, but I think that's like their next future game coming out sometime this year, maybe? I don't know. Here we are, heading back so we can say our proper farewells to our entire family. On the long drive back from the park, there were moments of conversation and of quiet, of reminiscing about the past and imaginations of the future. Of course, the now upcoming move was a major source of discussion. You decided to announce it to everyone while they were all together. You determined it would be best to tell other people once the details were figured out. Probably when it's figured out. They'd have questions you might not be able to answer, and you wanted to be ready when the news had to be shared. Sitting in the passenger seat over those hours, you sometimes felt as if you hadn't left that Ferris wheel cab in the sky. The atmosphere of Derek's car had a similar way about it that made you feel disconnected from the rest of the world. No one else could reach you or him, and you could say anything there. But there was a major difference. The peace and comfortable stasis was only an illusion. You weren't on the slow, unchanging path of that park ride. Derek was speeding down a California highway in a race against time. There was a party at the end of the road, and Derek was never one to be late. When he finally pulled into the apartment complex parking lot, the car went silent. Its leg of the relay was over, and the frantic whir and rush had to be carried on with your own flesh and bones. Then a moment was wasted snatching up the few belongings you brought along and booking it towards the building. You passed no one in the halls. Derek had his key in hand and already prepared to unlock the door. And when that was swung open, you saw the living room you'd grown so accustomed to empty. The space was untouched since you left early that morning, at least as far as you could remember. But Derek didn't celebrate an early victory. He put a finger to his lip and made a show of checking behind the couch and around the kitchen counter, just to make certain his family hadn't used their spare keys to prepare another surprise. You trailed behind Derek, step for step, as he dramatically skulked over his own house. He checked around a corner and you tried to get a look over his broad shoulders to see too. Nicholas and Liz could absolutely not be trusted. If they came by the apartment and found you and Derek gone, they would almost certainly play the same joke twice. However, they hadn't gotten that chance. Derek stood tall and concluded his inspection with that revelation. We've done it. No one is here. We spent the whole day out and still beat them. With a cheer, he fully relished the victory now that it was truly assured. The boardwalk finally telling Michiko what I actually felt. Being on time and getting to see the family before the day's over. Things really are all going my way, huh? It's perfect. Derek saying the day was perfect made it so for you too. After a lifetime of compromises and sacrifices, you're proud to see him get exactly what he wanted. And it was more than a little thrilling that a significant part of what he wanted was you. I'm glad we got to do this. I feel the same way. Couldn't have gotten better. You deserve to be spoiled too sometimes.
Thank you.
His voice was gentle and his gaze soft with affection. But as Derek came nearer to you, the warmth shot up sultry. With a single spark, it would burst.
You're seriously great.
Sure, it's only been a few hours, but you're a great girlfriend. I hope you know. You couldn't look away from his fixed gaze, but became incredibly aware of his finger trailing down your arm. Liz had been so certain none of the Taurus men could woo anyone. She would have had to eat those words if she saw Derek truly put his mind to it. Thanks. Is there anything else you might like from your girlfriend? Are you certain it's perfect? There's nothing else that'd be good. It's my pleasure. In fact, I'd be happy to do more. Thank you. I wonder when everyone's getting here. It was only flirt back a little with how strong he was coming on. Yet the reply made his lips quirk. He doubted his ears and nearly lost his composure. What he didn't do was quit. He didn't tell himself or you he was wrong, or there was a mistake either. Instead, Derek held up his coy smile with confidence and managed to store away from emergencies and indulge in further romantic pursuits.
Well,
honestly, right now, all I really want is to be alone with you. Once again, he closed in on you, this time until you were near enough that your nose is almost touched. It's pretty convenient we got the place to ourselves for a minute, huh? Very convenient. Does this mean I can finally see your bedroom? Oh, we never seen it. We better make the most of it while we can. He clasped his hand. I won't. Yes, truthfully, I think we should stay focused. We got guests coming soon. No, can I finally see your bedroom? Derek had played it very cool, but in the instant he lit right up, aglow from head to toe. Oh, definitely. This is the right timing for that final piece of the tour. Perfect. He threaded his fingers through yours and gripped it tight. The hand was steady and hot. There wasn't a trace of pre-game jitters, only excitement. Okay, but before anything else, maybe I should wipe this shooting star off my face. You snorted a laugh like you or your mum. That was not exactly a romantic thing to bring up now. However, it was fittingly practical and Derek-esque. That would be good, thank you. I was worried I'd have to point that out to you. No, leave it. It's cute. It was fun while it lasted, but I had to go. You shook your head. A starsuited Derek. It was fun while it lasted, but I had to go. What about mine? I take it you're not keeping the heart. That's right. It's only fair if you're giving up your star.
Let's get to it.
I'll meet you back so fast you won't even miss me. Aw. He bolted from the living room, counting on you to follow. You did. Derek went to the master bathroom. You the guest one. You twisted the sink on and assaulted the heart with hot water and a pale yellow hand towel until it was erased from existence. You wiped down the area as best as you could, then threw the towel aside. With the job done, you hastily returned to the living room. Derek came up right behind you. Upon reaching you, he bent over, leaning against his knees and settled his heavy breathing. His cheek was rubbed raw, though you wouldn't notice the tautness of the skin and slightly redness until you were searching for it. Then Derek bounded back up, seeming as upbeat and unflappable as ever. Now as we were, it was such a dramatic and complete recovery you had to wonder if it was a trained skill. There might have been many days where Derek frantically put out fires in his own flusters, but before presenting himself before you with a big smile, you never stopped finding reasons to fall for him. Okay, it's very Derek room. It's very minimalist with sports everywhere and weights. Okay, very Derek room. You left the main area of the apartment behind the hideaway together in the very back corner. The neat and simple room was very Derek. Not that you paid it much attention. You hadn't come to see if the carpets matched the drapes. What? He slipped both his arms under yours, wrapping you up in him. You're so cozy like that. You didn't need anything else in the world. You're a bundle of nerves. Whatever Derek wanted, you would be more than happy with. You were absolutely ready to pounce on the man. No, I feel like this. Blushing in consent, you rested your cheek against Derek's chest. He was solid muscle from head to toe, but it wasn't uncomfortable support in the least, quite the opposite. Careful not to jostle you, Derek let both of you down onto the edge. Whoa, what's going on? I literally just wanted a tour of your bedroom. I did not, it was not a like insinuating thing of something else. I literally just wanted to see your bedroom. Derek let both of you down onto the edge of his bed. He sat comfortably on the mattress and you were in his lap. Neither of you had any plans of untangling from each other. Derek traced his fingers down the length of your spine. His touch was a soothing balm to every worry you might have been able to conjure up. You welcomed it, snuggling closer. Nothing could touch you then other than your loving partner. For once, Derek didn't attempt to move right into a new conversation. His hands were full, going up and down your back. That was okay with you. In a dreamy haze, you gladly listened to only the sound of his heart and his slow breaths. And then the doorbell rang. Derek blinked wide, bleary eyes. That was definitely the door's buzzer, but you could have fooled him into thinking it was an alarm clock that came up from a fantasy.
This sucks.
Man, it's been, 5 minutes since we were preparing, and I already lost track of the party thing and that we were expecting guests. Well, this time I can't forgive myself for the slip-up. That was a hell of a distraction. I just wanted to see his bedroom. No. It was nice while it lasted, oh well. I forgot we even had families the second you started flirting. You scrambled off with Derek. Don't whoever they are realize they're interrupting people. You gave your boyfriend an encouraging pat. Derek sighed sweetly and bared his face against you. He mumbled another grin into the nape of your neck. Each word had his lips drag against your skin. Is it too late to cancel? Don't do that. We gotta say goodbye to them. Even though he was joking, it was still tempting for both of you, but it couldn't be done. Mustering his eyes of experience being the responsible one, Derek hefted you and him onto your feet. It was time to go.
Come on.
With a refreshed pep in your steps, you and Derek said goodbye to your dreamland and returned to the world of the living, which took the form of Derek's living room. But the expectant smile that had been on Derek's face evened out into a bemused line. His brain was working, and then his mouth dropped open, a terrible realization.
Wait.
Did I invite them over for dinner? We don't have time to make food. We could set out snacks, but what kind of dinner party is that? I said that we'd have as much time as possible at the park. I wasn't considering that meant we'd actually need a dinner. Shoot, we don't even have enough food in the house or how many people are coming. We can make this work, otherwise when either of you figure it out, you always do, so we shrug and burst into laughter. We can make this work. Yeah, exactly. It's fine. I've got an idea. We're gonna get takeout. How about pizza and other stuff places that that have salads, wings, and so on? Good idea. Yeah, I'd have that. That makes sense for the party, but I'll eat something here. Good idea.
Awesome.
Cool. You had a satisfied thumbs up. Now we better actually answer the door. He stuck a finger forward in demonstration where he was headed, then strode over. Aw, the Suarez family. Such a beautiful family. Are we gonna also tell them we're dating now? Thank you. The whole Suarez family was there, crowding the narrow space with smiles on their faces. Oh, and Liz. Hello, Liz. Where's Mom? Mums? Your own family member did not have the same kind of cheer. Her lips were curved. They were here first. It took so long answering, I found them standing around waiting. Sorry about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was that about?
It's...
Well... the real secret of the day was your outing at the boardwalk, but a deep red over his cheeks exposed that it was a different choice that came to Derek's mind. Michuga and I were just going over the game plan.
So?
Oh, what is the plan? We're gonna get pizza, my treat.
Woo!
Thank you, my wonderful son. That's very thoughtful of you. Works for me. Derek's last-minute solution had gotten full marks. Speaking with the self-satisfaction of a man who winged a final exam and still passed, Derek pretended that this had gone as he intended all along.
I figured.
I thought you might feel that way about it. Let's not order until everyone is here. Michuga says Miss Melody and Mr. Holden are good. Oh, right! We also invited Mr. Holden. I completely forgot. Murmurs of understanding circulated as the group filed into the apartment. Filed. Derek took on the role of the host with vigor and encouraged his guests to get comfortable. They accepted the hospitality and seats were taken all around.
Well,
How has your day been? Yeah, what were you up to? Miss Suarez's entirely pleasant tone was followed up by the openly nosy inquiry from Nicholas. However, neither had forgotten the curious hold-up at the door. We had a great afternoon and talked about some very important things. Isn't that right, Michiko? As usual, when he ended up in awkward positions, Derek took the strategy of technically not lying but leaving out crucial details. Yep, that is exactly right. That's nice. Miss Suarez didn't mind not getting the real answer, but she knew existed. She always did. Nicholas shrugged. He wanted more, but was mature enough to not demand it. Soon another sharp ring on the doorbell came. You and your sister perked up the most at the sound. It had to be your parents. Liz disregarded the fact that this was not her apartment and headed straight over to answer her door. You hurried to catch up with her. Oh, they're all so beautiful! Aw, hi, Mr. Holden. God, you're hot as ever. Liz tugged the handle, and there on the other side were the soft faces of your sweet mothers and the more sharply featured but no less kind Mr. Holden. Many hellos and good to see yous were said in succession as the Melody family joined with the Suarez clan and Suarez clan? Sorry, I can't read. And Derek's living room. It is a real party now. Not yet. There's still one thing missing. Let's talk toppings. Derek took a page out of his mother's book and offered an explanation to newcomers on who had to have
What
one.
do you think?
We're getting pizza if that's cool with you. Yum. That is fine, sweetie. No complaints here.
Nice.
Perfect. With the size of a crowd, I'd say we should get 3 large pizzas. A friendly round of suggestions and debates over the most ideal topping split commences. I feel like the best safe choice, obviously everyone should know, is cheese and pepperoni and then like a vegetarian option. Yeah. But your girl, I mentioned this several times before, and even like when I remind my friends, they get so upset when I tell them I don't like pizza. It's not like I hate pizza, it's just I don't eat it a lot. It's dairy, like cheese is not in my like diet a whole lot, so like it doesn't bother me if I don't have pizza for the rest of my life. But I will eat pizza, and when I do, I customize it, and when I customize it, I put a shit ton of toppings on it. And I feel bad for the worker, because they're probably going to be like, God damn, take the whole store. Might as well take the whole store. Because I put everything on my pizza, almost everything. Did I already read that line? Oh, more than one person wanted meat and veggie supreme. The Suarez parents both loved that one, and it had grown on their sons as they grew. Most agreed that having at least a couple of simple options made sense, and Derek declared he'd get his favorite, chicken barbecue, since he was the one making the order and couldn't be stopped. No one else in the group had any intention of ruining that for Derek. It was incredible to see him decide on something purely for himself. That's how the plan of one full meat and veggie supreme pizza, a half cheese, half pepperoni pizza, and a half pizza of chicken barbecue was determined. You left the last half up to the rest of the group. You offered up a suggestion for the last half. An all-meat Hawaiian Alfredo side. I've got a spinach pesto pizza I'd like to try. We could try a Philly cheesesteak option. Let's all meat. I love all meat. Yes, I think so. The rest of the room accepted your idea as well. And ooh, can we order something else besides pizza? I always get wings and stuff. Wings, hell yeah. Orange soda. cola, lime, root beer, salad, garlic bread. You know, fuck it. We're ordering everything. Liz teased you openly in front of all the parents for making good use of this being Derek's treat. Listen. I forgot Derek was paying. Honestly, I thought I was also paying. And Nicholas, of all people, felt self-assured enough to joke about you being a spoiled youngest kid. Oddly enough, I'm a spoiled oldest daughter. That was hilarious coming from him, though the most impactful blow you got from Derek himself when he gladly owned up to the idea that he'd spoil you when you wanted him to. And to top it all off, Nico and George were both emboldened by your special request. Each of the younger Suarez boys asked their big brother for a soda, root beer for George and orange for Nicholas. Derek gladly accepted the request. Oh shit, I was ordering all of that stuff expecting it for everyone, not for just me. That's crazy. Off to the side, Mr. Suarez stroked his beard as he mused to himself. Why does someone need more than one drink? Because it's a party and Michiko's enjoying herself. That's true. I was ordering for everyone, not just me, but I guess the game pertained it as just me. After it was all said and done, Derek made a call to the local pizza place. He had it arranged for delivery. He glanced over the attendees once he finished that task.
Oh, yeah.
We've got some time to kill. Can I get anybody a drink? That goes for you three already getting something too. You don't have to wait to hydrate. What a kind host. Some requests were made of water and seats were taken to settle in for the wait. You got comfortable on the couch yourself. Derek collected 2 armfuls of water bottles. He went around the room passing drinks out to each person, even those who didn't ask for one. It seemed staying refreshed was not an option after all. It was an order. You and the others near the coffee table got served first. Then he went around the dining table to catch the ones hanging out there. I was going to say hanging around, but it's out there. He was busy and in another section of the apartment. That's what you knew from the last time you caught sight of Derek from your position. And that's why a jolt went through your entire body when a low voice tickled your ear. Michiko? You quickly turned your rigged neck to glimpse behind you. Derek was there, resting on his arms across the top of the couch. He had swung back around to you while you weren't looking. You're so cute. As you processed the situation, Derek grinned cheerily, unapologetic about the shock his move gave you. A soft thump could be heard in the air. It wasn't your heart, though it might have been. You guessed on the other side of the couch he was tapping his heels again.
So?
I just wanted to ask if we're keeping us a secret. Fuck no! We're telling the world. He didn't have to tell you what that meant. No, we shouldn't, and this would be a good chance to talk about it. Our families are both here. Besides, they can tell something is going on already, considering the cozy position they have taken and the secret conversation we're having right in front of them. Good point. He pushed off the couch to his full height, though continued to grip the off-white fabric backside of the couch.
Well...
A new patting sound could be heard. Derek needed an outlet for his building excitement and found it through drumming his fingers against the cushion. Well, we're all together. Michiko and I have got to tell you all something. Ah, you're in a relationship.
Really?
The dad is like, oh, finally. Really now? Dad!
Is that wrong?
What, is that wrong? We're not aware of what Derek felt about Michiko? Miss Suarez groaned loudly and hid her face in the palms of her hands. George put his hands on his hips, giving his dad a hard look. Your own parents were too sympathetic to their child's predicament to comment or laugh, though they were clearly dying to. Maybe not. We have no idea. Don't steal our thunder before they've said anything. Imagine. We went up that and be like, no, we're actually going to get engaged. He's right, Gregorio. Let them talk. Mr. Suarez stroked his beard thoughtfully. Ooh, sorry, kids.
Go on.
Derek, please keep going. What did you want to say?
Okay.
Yes. Forget I said a word. My lips are sealed. Dad, it's too late for that. Derek shot you a look that was both apologetic and encouraging. He turned back to the waiting eyes of his family, scratched his cheek. Mr. Suarez guessed it. We're dating, okay, everyone? Meet my new boyfriend, Derek Suarez. Well, me and Derek are, what Mr. Suarez said. Way to spoil it, you joke. You reached over and took Derek's hand. You wanted Derek to explain himself. Let's reach over and take his hand. Derek started, but when his brain caught up to what you were doing, his palm slid perfectly in place with yours. You watched his expression grow more confident. He was ready.
You've got it.
You got it, Dad. We are dating. It's so cute. That's big wins. The soft way he confirmed that made your heart flutter in your chest. I'm more than happy to say it, even though someone else beat me to the punch. The parents were instantly elated by the news. Miss Suarez started clapping and knocked a shoulder into her husband's side.
Very good.
I hoped that was going to be the news. This is amazing and quite a surprise too. Mom bent over with a chuckle and loud
It
snort.
happens.
I thought this might happen ever since Michiko invited him to that soiree, remember? Ma hummed nostalgically. She reached over and threaded her fingers together with Mom's.
Yes.
Derek has always been quite the gentleman. Michiko's an excellent kid, and I know for a fact that Derek is a great guy. I'm sure things are going to work out for you two. George slowly shook his head off to the side. His crooked smile grew.
That makes sense.
You two together. It just makes sense. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
This means everything to me. Thank you so much. I promise to do my best by Derek. Cross my heart. I'm officially Team Suarez now. Sorry, family. Derek's on Team Melody now. Sorry. I'm glad my boyfriend comes with good in-laws. You blush wordlessly. I think I would blush. The last few minutes have been embarrassing and terrifying, but you do it all over again in a heartbeat for Derek. You couldn't stop mentally thanking his family for their support. A bold as brass smirk hadn't left Liz's face, as to be expected from your big sister. Well, perhaps you, Suarez, coming up from behind. I thought you had lost your painfully long moment when you never said anything about crushing on Michiko for several years and then moved away. Her jab hit the mark, making Derek shudder one eye. What? His characteristic grin survived the strike.
I know.
I fumbled it more than once, I can admit that, but I did it now, and a win is a win.
All right.
Wow, more props. Liz couldn't completely remove the wryness that was natural to her face, but when she looked at you again, her eyes were soft. I'm so happy for you, both of you. I cannot possibly imagine how romancing Mr. Let Me Do That For You over here could blow up in your face. Liz's encouragement was a huge deal to you, but the moment wasn't complete. Nicholas had been the only one in the crowd with nothing to say for the entire event. That was strikingly uncharacteristic for the wild child, and his face was neutral. The absence of happiness was worried you as much as sadness or anger would have, maybe more. Nicholas simply not caring seemed worse than him being upset, but you didn't need to doubt for long. In the end, he smiled. The look wasn't forced or for manner's sake. It reached his deep brown eyes. Nico's story about the night of the summer soiree came back to you. He knew what was coming and prepared himself for this exact moment. Now that it was here, he was happy for Derek and for you. You were so grateful. Your whole family, Suarez, Melody, and Holden, could agree that you and Derek ought to be happy and that you should be happy together. Then everything was put on hold when for the third time their doorbell rang. Dinner's here! Nicholas made a beeline to the door, his two older brothers at his heels. They gathered all the spoils from the delivery driver, gave a polite thanks, and promptly closed the apartment up again. George and Nicholas peered into the semi-opaque lids to figure out which drink was theirs, and Derek specially handed you the stuff you got for yourself. I really didn't mean to just order all that for myself. I wanted to share. It was good. The whole set of boys, when considering all the additional items, came stacked with 3 pizzas, most of which were for you. Nicholas, George, and Derek helped set aside your goods safely. The feast was laid out on the counter, savory, steamy, and very cheesy. Derek stood between the guests and the meal to make a declaration.
All right.
Alright, everyone, in my house, instead of the youngest going first, the oldest do.
Good.
Ah, yes, respect your elders. How kind.
That's...
I can't believe I'm considered an elder. How'd I get so old? Mom and Ma offered comfort and condolences. They've been members of that club for many a year. All the grown-ups filed through as a big group. At the point in their lives, determining who was truly the oldest of the old wasn't worth the trouble. When they picked over the cream of the crop, Liz made a clean sweep all on her own. You and Derek went together next, followed by George. Finally, Nicholas's turn came. His mouth was hooked in an amused bend. Being last was a novelty, and he took his sweet time picking out the slices he wanted. Why not? He wasn't holding anyone up. Eventually, Nicholas selected his dinner, and the chairs around the apartment were filled with happy guests whose plates were equally full. It was a relief to see your and Derek's big announcement hadn't impacted anyone's appetite. Good food and pleasant conversation were enjoyed at Casa Derek. Nico went back to the boxes for seconds and thirds without needing anyone's permission. After eating, George moved from the table to chat with Liz away from the parents. Nicholas abandoned the last bites of his 5th piece of pizza to scurry after his big brother. Derek stuck next to you as a rule, but there were cases when an exception was needed. Well, this is your party and Liz's, sort of. I won't hug you. You should get to see everyone who's here to see you. I'll be around. It was true. The 2 families had gathered for you and your sister on the final day of your trips. On your end, the event had turned into more of a welcome party than a farewell, but Liz was still leaving, and you didn't know for sure when you would be able to actually move. The time you had right now wasn't to be missed. Well, yeah, I will. Thanks. Derek took a step back with a nod and a wave. He at least was someone you'd certainly see again soon. We're gonna see our parents and Mr. Holden. Hello, family. Wonder how Cove is. This is like, it's such a tragic story, you know? Because we all technically grew up together. Because what if in this parallel universe, Cove was the one that said he would wait for us after 10 years, and we end up going for Derek? Good. Depressing. Your parents remain at the dinner table, sipping on their water bottles, pretending to be nonchalant. They sent too many fervent glances between you and Liz to be convincing. Hello, sweetie.
Hey.
Welcome over.
How are you?
What's happening? Hi, I just wanted to see how you were doing. We're great.
How sweet.
We've been having a wonderful time. I know this trip was for you and Derek, but I'm so grateful Pam and I could be here for a little. Mom wrapped an arm around Mom with a light chuckle. Mom leaned her head gently into her wife and they both beamed. Time together is more important than time apart. Every bit counts. Well said. I love you all. Us too, kiddo. Absolutely. Thanks. Oh, Mom brought you into an embrace along with Ma. Your parents held you tight for another minute before letting go. Like Derek before them, they didn't intend to monopolize you forever. You left them to their own amazing company and drifted back towards the front, the living room. Right, go to the Suarez's. Derek's parents were contentedly sitting together on the couch watching. The scene of their children and friends gathered together in one place was rare joy. But when you approached, Mr. Suarez perked up from his peaceful reverie. He squished against the missus, patting the free spot on the cushion. Aww, Miss Suarez had to physically support her husband an invitation by catching his shoulder. Otherwise, he would have toppled right over into her lap. She laughed over the dramatic infringement on her personal space. To take the provided seats. Okay, stand, shake your head lightly. Thanks, don't mind if I do. After all the effort they took in order to make that available, you couldn't reject the hospitality. You popped down onto the pre-warmed cushion. Miss Suarez looked past the man draped over her as he was not currently attached at the hip and made eye contact with you. Soon enough, mother-in-law and father-in-law. I hope you've enjoyed your big city vacation, Michiko. I definitely did. Glad to hear it. As the pleasantries faded off, the Suarez's spouses shared a meaningful glance with each other. The weight of the occasion hadn't been forgotten. Well, we've got you here. There's something I want to say. Did you know Gregorio and I met at a similar age as you and Derek, technically?
That's true.
Oh. Miss Suarez patted her husband's leg unconsciously while the gleam of a storyteller sparkled in her eyes. We attended the same high school at 14 or so, though we never landed on the other's radar until senior year. He and I shared a class here and there. We did not run in the same social circles, or have similar extracurricular pursuits. I almost missed her. Can you believe that? I cannot. What would I have done with my life then? Sometimes I wonder, perhaps you'd be living in a mansion somewhere in the hills.
Well then.
Is that so? It is a worse fate than I feared. The longtime couple tittered and smiled rosily over one another. Meanwhile, you leaned in closer, ears perked. The topic intrigued you. How had Derek's parents come together? You didn't interrupt in order to ask. You knew with certainty that Miss Suarez would explain without prompting, and she did. You see, Michiko, Mr. Suarez is a well-meaning man, but when he gets a lot of compliments, he believes them. There's no end to how big his head can get. Derek may have mentioned this to you, but Rio, as he was called in the glory days, was on the football team. The words football team were said with mocking exaggeration as though she could stop the explanation there. It was obvious where that was going. He and all his footballer buddies had quite the egos and were such a clique. One completely random day in the cafeteria, him and his boys were acting like the gods on earth they thought they were. They talked big and it was all crap. I spent my life turning the whole set out. But that time, I must have been staying closer to the noise than normal or in an unusually petty mood. Whatever the reason, I began to gab with my own friends intentionally loud enough to be overheard. I said with exaggerated wide-eyed innocence how strange it was that jocks acted as if they were the greatest men alive. How did they come to such a conclusion when they've seemingly never spoken to a single person outside of their team? What do they know about who's better than anyone else? Folding her arms and bouncing her shoulders, Miss Suarez still felt self-satisfaction over that one decades later. The team noticed me then mostly to give the stink eye, except for one, who I could only describe as befuddled. I continued on, pretending I had no idea what was happening at the next table over. We were having plenty of fun on our side of the crowd, until all of my friends went dead quiet. That got me to check again. One of the footballers had come over. He was built like a broad brick, though his face was anything but hardened. Too goofy and almost boyish for that. It was Rio, the linebacker, of course. He leaned over the table and said in his low, somehow booming voice, "What do you think of me? Am I not great to you?" Seriously? Irene and you were suddenly peers, sharing a fluster over the brashness of some strange football man. You snug a glance at the star of the scene. He was playing as naive as Miss Suarez had all those years ago, listening quietly and twiddling his thumbs. Yes, I couldn't believe it. I wasn't expecting any of them to actually care about my opinion. The obvious thought would be that he was trying to intimidate me, make me take it back, but he asked with so much earnestness. I didn't even consider that possibility. I shot out instantly that, I don't like you, I don't know you, but I couldn't say I wouldn't like a man simply because he was on the football team. That's pathetic. Ping-ponging from shock to indignance, the outpouring of emotions reached its peak. Irene could be worked up no longer. It's crazy how we're now learning their actual names instead of Mr. and Miss Suarez. She wasn't really a young lady recounting this for the first time. She knew the end of the tale, and despite being grown, it still put a schoolgirl smile on her face. Well, Mr. Suarez here has to frown when he heard that. Truthfully, Derek looks the exact same way when he feels rejected, so you likely understand the position I was in. Someone so bright and bold with a face like that isn't right. It's as if all the joy in the entire world had vanished. That was too much. I looked him square in the face and said I wouldn't give him the time of day for that. But I might be willing to get to know him sometime because he was decently handsome. Of course, that soothed Rio's delicate soul, and he said, then we should do that. We are people, we should know each other. When he grinned down at me, I knew this was more than I bargained for. I'm better prepared. If he didn't forget about me, I wasn't sure I'd ever have it in me to give up on him. But so far, it's never come to that. And it never will. Rio had been so quiet the whole story. He simply needed to burst in at the end. I cannot remember seeing Irene before that day in the lunchroom, yet as soon as I did see her, I knew I wanted her to think well of me. If she didn't, I must have been doing wrong. I'm thankful you approve of me still, even though I sneak our son's extra treats and cheat with their video games. I can't be a bad man if Irene can look past it. Mr. Suarez hooked a hand around his wife's. You'd bet the grin he had on in that moment was the same one Irene had originally fallen for. That's right, you're a good man. No buts or qualifiers went along with the praise. She wholeheartedly suppressed approval of her husband. You could see it go straight to Mr. Suarez's ego. Irene didn't take it away from him. The sweethearts were completely enamored and absorbed with one another. Yet Miss Suarez managed to pull her focus off the stud of her heart to address you again. It had to be serious. Thank you for listening to my self-indulgent story. What I really wanted to tell you is that I'm relieved Derek found someone who appreciated him for who he is. The weight of those words fell over you. She knew what happened with Derek, and she knew that you were with him regardless of what happened with his career trajectory. As his mother, it meant a great deal to her. Welcome to the family, Michiko. Thanks, she sniffled. Hand in hand, the two wonderful people who raised your amazing friend smiled over at you. You got to enjoy a little quality time with Mr. and Miss Suarez. Eventually, they requested a moment with their eldest child, likely to share the same sentimental matters with him. That wasn't something you'd stand in the way of. It made room for the two to have a special parent-to-child chat. Now for our siblings. The trio here. My god, her outfit is so pretty. George, Nicholas, and Liz were gathered in a corner of the room, fully engrossed in conversation. George's hand batted in the air between the group as Nicholas jerked a finger about. What's up, you three? You were welcomed by the circle with friendly smiles. George folded his arms and switched from one explanation to another. Nicholas was giving something to the effect of a recap to Liz. While talking about the trip, we realized she had yet to hear about our new interesting acquaintance, so she was being filled in. Apparently, the Xavier person running some bakery used to paint faces at the boardwalk. Small world, There's no end to the odd connections. You end up making what people, excuse me. We were getting philosophical. I'm lucky I got to meet each one of you. I'm looking forward to who else we'll meet in the future. We also connected with that psychic who knew Shiloh. That was weirder. It's almost as weird as meeting Dancer Kid again. Baxter? I'm lucky I got to meet each one of you. So am I, Michiko. Me too. What they said. Your sister was satisfied snickering into her palm. Besides all that, I have to say, I'm surprised Nicholas was the one who reconnected with Xavier. Wouldn't he struggle to recognize them? You know, considering the fact that he was asleep the entire day, I fell asleep after I got my face painted, thanks. And I've been to that boardwalk more than once. I didn't conk out every time. Try a better tease. That dare was meant for Liz. That's what he'd rated himself for and why he spoke with boldness. Alright. Unfortunately for Nicholas, however, it was George who took on the challenge, speaking plainly. With a mischievous twinkle deep in his eyes. You knew it was gonna go well for his little brother. Wasn't gonna go well. The only reason Xavier was able to recognize you out of any of us is because you're still a little kid, just taller. How's that? Miko pouted. That round he had no comeback, however. He did have a new strategy. Nicholas looked at you, his only potential ally, and pleaded like the child he insisted he wasn't. The irony wasn't lost on Nico, and he intentionally played to that. Michiko, these two meanies are ganging up on me. I'm glad you haven't changed, Nico. You're the best the way you are. Clearly, George and Liz haven't changed either. I'm glad. It's not Nico's fault he hit on great style at 6. None of you should change. You're perfect to me. Glad you haven't changed, Nico. You're the best way you are.
Totally.
Right, I'm flawless. Michiko says so. But she said you hadn't changed. And you were complaining about George saying the same thing. At least he added you got taller. I'll let that one pass. You, Liz, George, and Nicholas laughed together and continued to chat on the mysteries of life. None of them said this was goodbye, but when the evening wore on and you needed to move away from the sibling group, the CU's shared between you meant more than usual. You worked the room, you made your rounds, and had a few minutes to yourself. You used it to think and reflect. There was a lot to consider. Life was bearing forward for you. Unfortunately, no inner peace or full understanding of the universe came while you zoned out in a corner. Perhaps as a conclusion, you were rewarded with Derek returning to you after finishing his talk with Mr. and Miss Suarez, and he had an idea.
So?
Want to go out to the balcony? Get some fresh air? Same as he did when he first parted ways with you. Derek pointedly left the most crucial part of his motivation and said, "This might be the last time you had a chance to be alone together before you had to go." That sounds nice, Derek. Cool. You quietly went to the sliding glass pianos at one end of the living room. Derek opened the door and leaned aside. Of course, he wouldn't go through himself, at least not first. After you. You obliged graciously in the special ritual between Derek and the people he cared for. Thanks. The event was still alive with small pockets of conversation. You and Derek managed to slip away without notice. As soon as you walked out, a warm evening breeze caressed your body. It carried the sharp scent of the ocean and the delicate perfume of the flowers who made their own home at Derek's place. It's so pretty out here. Derek ignored the one lonely chair on the veranda and rested up against the rail, exactly as he did the first time. On the horizon, the sea gleamed like molten gold, encasing a city of silver. You leaned against the railing too, you stood near him, you lingered by the door. Why would I do that? Lean against the railing. Out there, he had his spot and you had yours. All was as it should be. The seemingly endless expanse in front of you, with nothing more than a few thin bars between you and it, was a welcome sight, not a giant sight. When you both settled in, Derek grinned as if it was any other day, or rather because he couldn't help smiling at you no matter the circumstances. Michiko, I owe you an apology, or at least an explanation. No, both. You blinked. If there was one thing you could count on, it was that Derek Suarez wouldn't do you wrong. Not intentionally, anyway. What about? Or about what? Well, that's obvious. I had to ask you to marry me in a way, and I almost didn't realize this was the year it was supposed to happen. How inconsiderate can I get? The outburst sapped him of all energy. Derek's shoulders slumped and his tone dropped even lower.
It's been a long time.
We'd been apart for a long time. Looks like I was in denial about how long. Days, weeks, months, and years just went by before I even knew it. It couldn't be the deadline already, I thought. No way, especially with how not grown up I felt and how non-figured out everything was. But it was true. The summer when we were 23 was the year I picked. Is it good or bad timing that this marriage pact plan coincided with my career crisis? Maybe? I don't know. The rhetorical question lingered, then a bit of humor returned to Derek's darkened features. Actually, I do. It is for the best that it all happened now. We could work the whole mess out in one. Though that was also part of why I lost sight of things. I don't want you to think it meant nothing because of that.
I swear.
It's not that it didn't matter to me. It mattered so much I couldn't even face it. I had to run away. Derek almost cracked from self-imposed pressure. His voice did break. I mentioned some of that already, but asking you to marry me if there was nobody else wasn't one of those wild impulsive stunts I pull sometimes. I really thought it through. As in, I thought through all the ways I could maybe be with you without daring to just ask you to be with me.
The truth is,
I hinged a lot of hopes on that plan, but it was wishful thinking to see it as a solution. It doesn't work that way. His gaze parted from yours. He had nothing in particular to take I can't fucking read. He had nothing in particular to take his attention, so Derek was simply staring straight ahead.
you.
Your future's looking bright, Michiko. I love the city and my family, but honestly, I really was missing something. Coming back to Prison Vista, knowing you were gonna already was a blow. That's patched up now. I'm so pumped you're gonna be moving in. I feel like I can get off a treadmill for the first time in over a decade and go somewhere, possibly on a walk with my girlfriend. So fucking cute. It's thrilling to see Derek bursting with real optimism, not simply wanting and hoping that it would be okay in the face of fears, but having certainty that it would be good. Yet both embrace what was coming next with open arms. That's what I like to hear. I'm looking forward to it too. Here's to us, Derek. I think we've earned that. Here's to us, Derek. To us. His heavy arm wrapped around his shoulders, he curled it in, bringing you closer towards him. Then his lips were on your cheek. I'll kiss him back, duh. Derek pulled away for a moment, intending to once again plant a kiss on the side of your face, but you turned your face to catch his lips instead. He liked that one. Derek leaned into you and rubbed your back lovingly. It was lovely and precious and much too short. This place is so beautiful. Your parents told me the story of how they got together.
Oh, yeah.
The lunchroom showdown. Pretty funny, huh? My dad told me he'd love to remind the rest of the team how Irene may not like footballers, but she did like him. Very cute. You really are a lot like your dad. You're both so earnest. You're so different from your dad. I can't imagine you with an ego. That is good, but it doesn't beat your marriage pact. Yep. It's the height of romantic hijinks. Thanks. You know, if I ever have a team again, I'll be sure to tell them how Michiko liked me before I made it. Or I can tell my future coworkers, whoever. Perfect. You and your darling boyfriend exchange more sweet smooches, cuddly and adoring to a degree that would certainly be embarrassing to outsiders if there were any around. And then a swooping sound snatched your attention away from Derek. The sliding door had been opened. The youngest son skipped in, as if invited, and the middle child followed after. George was less cheeky, but equally unrepentant. Hi, Derek. Hi, Michiko. Hello. What's going on? I'm pretty sure you guys know clearly what's going on. Derek flung his head back in a groan. He let go of you with all the begrudging frustration of a teen boy caught canoodling under the bleachers by the teacher. Not again. Every damn time. There's no privacy anywhere, even in my own house.
Hey.
Nicholas handled the childish display with unearned airs of maturity. His voice was tall, and he cut an accusing finger through the air. You're the one who invited us over. If you wanted to be alone with Michiko, why did you throw a party with several other people? That was a strong point. Worse still for Derek. George had an even better one. Honestly confused by his big brother's reaction, he plainly stated a key consideration. This whole side of the apartment is glass. We could see everything happening without opening the door. Coming over feels more polite to me than watching from the inside. At that, Derek snorted a laugh. He was less ashamed of what you were doing than Nicholas was for interrupting him.
I see how it is.
Fine, it made sense to get together one more time before she left, but I'm regretting being so irresponsible now. One of these days we might learn to be more self-centered, and then you'll be sorry.
Sorry.
I kinda doubt that. The part about you ever being selfish, not us being sorry over it. Yeah, sorry bro, that's not happening. Don't be mad, Derek. I'm happy having George and Nico around. No, I'm with Derek. The party's over. I'm gonna go home, you tease. I forgot how much of a problem this kind of thing was, you laugh. George, Nicholas, that's not right. Alright, you could have at least knocked. He sighed, he shook your head in amusement. You shook your head in amusement. Those kids, none of this surprised you. But that couldn't be the end of it. Trouble came in threes. Your own sibling appeared from behind. She leaned against the doorway, leering at the scene. Romancing out in the open while all your siblings and parents were right there. I had no idea the two of you were so indulgent. One rotten apple spoiled the rest. Nicholas and George had originally barged in with pure intentions of being with you. Now they were snickering over Liz's jabs at yours and Derek's expense. I'm a bad influence on him. Sorry, we couldn't babysit you the whole time, Liz, you quipped. All we wanted was some peace and quiet, you lamented. You rolled your eyes, you stared silently. This could not get more embarrassing. Sorry we couldn't babysit you the whole time, Liz. Ooh, of course this happened. Well, why expect anything else? That's what Derek's wryly lifted brow seemed to express. You know, we were just talking about how self-absorbed I am and how it's not enough in my opinion. From even further in the house, Mr. Suarez waved a hand popped up over your sister's head. It is okay. We're fine on our own. Enjoy your time together. Your parents were bursting with laughter and ineffectively trying to model that staying quiet would have been less obtrusive than joining the situation.
Really?
Dad. Your trouble estimates were proven to be highly underestimated. It didn't come in three. It came in as many amounts as physically possible. Miss Suarez came to get her husband, clearing a path through Liz, George, and Nicholas.
Excuse me.
She escorted him back to the couch without fuss, but no amount of cordialness on her end could smooth out the three-ring circus. Derek barely saw the retreating forms of his abashed parents, or your moms and Mr. Holden giggling fit in the distance, or even the set of siblings watching and waiting for what would happen next. His arms were folded and his brain was working. You and he had become the center of the universe, and that wouldn't do. At the end, Mr. Reliable himself went for his oldest, most reliable solution to awkward situations. Hey, look over there.
What?
At what? While the others were clearly distracted by Derek's fantastic ploy, said mastermind slid near to you and whispered intently, "Run!" You nodded imperceptibly to everyone but Derek, whose focus was set entirely on setting that gesture. You both knew what had to be done. Your hand found his and his yours, without tearing your eyes from the target and escape route. Out the front! You dashed through the opening left by Miss Suarez, speeding by Liz before she could block the way again. The elders were shocked, the younger ones were shouting, but you didn't stop. Through the gap in the sliding glass door, past the couches, and out the apartment's entrance, you and Derek ditched the whole party in a blink. Together you flew down the stairs. There's no patience to wait for an elevator. Once on ground level, you exploded through the last set of doors in your path and onto the sidewalk, leaving laughter and joy in your wake. You may have escaped the building, but who knew if they'd follow you out? That wasn't something you put past your siblings. The hand gripping yours still held tight. Derek encouraged you along, beaming wide. Aw, you're so cute! Let's go! Make sure you keep up. Okay, let's go, you jokingly mimic. You grinned at him just as sweetly. Make sure you keep up. Friends, lovers, partners in crime, formerly conditional fiancés. No matter the circumstances, you and Derek were always a team, and together you were unstoppable. In Derek's bright eyes, you saw a reflection of your past. Oh, he's so adorable. You're so adorable. I could still see like the young Derek in like adult Derek form too. It's crazy. The first day you met when he bounded up to you so unafraid. The time he'd much less bravely bolted from a very cross Elizabeth. Your grand exit from a different party, one you hadn't been invited to. And the moment you arrived in the Prism City bus station such a short and long time ago when he'd come running for you. Each happy moment you experienced became only a memory of what used to be, but that's what life was, and it was okay. Right then, you were running side by side. You wouldn't take it for granted. You wouldn't waste the chance. Instead, you would keep going for as long as your feet could carry you. As it should be. You and Derek took another step forward and then another. Forward and forward and forward. Down the glistening city street and towards the rest of your lives. Aww. Thank you for beginning a life here. You can come back again always. Ah. The end. Congratulations to us. We finished the game. Aww. Can I see the gallery, Eric? Okay, we unlocked all of it. So technically that was DLC. Baxter is coming soon. Baxter's coming soon. But is there no other? Okay, I guess I kept this one. But here we are. We have finished. We have finished Derek's route. I'm so excited. Congrats to us. We have to come back, obviously, for Baxter. I don't know exactly when Baxter's is going to get released, but I know it's still in the works as of now that I'm recording. So, not going to be too pressed about that, because, again, I do have games coming out lined up that I have to start recording. So, I am no rush in them rushing to finish Baxter. Baxter is officially going to be the very last section of this series, because this series has been up to 89 episodes already. So hopefully maybe with Baxter's DLC we can end it on a clean 100. That is fucking crazy. 100 episodes of a beautiful, beautifully made game. Derek's route, absolutely adorable. We got to see his the lowest of Derek, and then the highest of Derek's. It was a very slow burn. I don't even know if it's slower than the fucking Cove slow burn that we had, but this was definitely a slow burn. I really thought we weren't gonna end up being together or dating. It's insinuating that we eventually will marry one day, which is cute and adorable, because why the fuck not? We waited for each other for 10 years, so what's another 10 more, you know? Derek compared to Cove, I don't know, man. I kind of think Cove is still up on top just because we experience more things with Cove, so maybe that's kind of just kind of bias of me to choose Cove over Derek. They both have their pros and cons as characters, more pros than anything compared to cons. cons for both. Technically, I guess it's a slow burn, but I chose purposely to have a slow pacing with Cove, so that's on him. That's on me. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. Definitely tell me who you prefer. Do you prefer Derek or do you prefer Cove? I'm still Team Cove. Baxter May can possibly change that, because technically Baxter's character design is what I am mostly attracted to. If you put 3 of them in front of me, if you put 3 of them in front of me, it would be Baxter, Cove, and then Derek, because I'm not into like sporty guys. I'm sorry. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. I don't know when I will see you again back for the series, but when we are back, it will be with Baxter, our 3rd contender, and then we can truly rank them from 1 to 3. But I have a feeling Cove is still gonna be number 1 either way. So anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I will see you guys in the future.